Welcome back to the Kulture podcast. We've got episode 2. We'll be kicking things off 7 o'clock sharp. This is the podcast where we talk all things culture, all things South African music, everything relevant to the industry, and all things incognito. Welcome to those who have joined. We will be getting underway in a few minutes, so hang tight. Welcome everyone, welcome. We will be getting underway shortly. Collie, what's up? Yes, boy. Okay, we're going to get things underway. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the podcast. This is episode 2 of the Kulture podcast. For any of you who did not join us last week, basically what we do here is we chat everything relevant to our industry at the moment, everything in the music industry, mainly the South African music industry. We will give you guys a breakdown of everything that's happening on Incognito side. All the events, all the specials and the promos that we're running. Once again, I've got Kung Fu Dumpling Chris Hock with me in studio. Welcome, man. Welcome back.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to be back, man. It's a lot about the industry, but it's also just about the people going out and jolling, man. Having a time, bro. That's why I'm here. Having it.
Yeah, true, dude. I guess the info and the professional side comes from me, and then you basically kind of as the party guy, as the general population, you understand it from that side.
Yeah, it's just bridging the gap, man. I know, like, artists and like these art performers, they're trying really hard when it comes to like people on the venue side. They're trying really hard, but ultimately it's just the people that go out and experience it. Those are the people, I guess they're the target market. They're the people you're trying to reach, bro. And it's a unique, I guess, opinion from me. Yeah.
Oh, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you again.
It's an absolute pleasure, man.
Okay, so basically how we have decided to go about with this is talking about dance music in our country, kind of talking about how we got into it, talking where it's come from, potentially where it's going.
I think most importantly, like where it's at right now. I mean, we're just coming out, we're not coming out of the pandemic. We're pretty much in the middle of a pandemic, I guess, depending who you listen to. And at least here in SA, places are opening up again. People are starting to go out again. And there's a little bit of uncertainty on all sides. I mean, it's not just us that have started going out again. I mean, like we were just speaking about the UK earlier, where they've been going out for a solid a month and a bit now. Yeah, having it.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess, as you said, it's not just kind of local to us here. The whole world's been in this pandemic, and I guess everyone's getting a bit hurtful, going out, getting drunk with your mates, having a good time, partying it's a release for people. It's an escape, and I guess it's been so long for everyone worldwide that I know here in South Africa, lockdown's pretty much ended. Events are going left, right, and center. There's no curfew anymore, nothing like that. So yeah, it's good. It's good to see people coming back. It's good to see the support.
No, 100%. And like, if I was just like thinking about it, like something that you could do at home, I mean, if you were to go through your phone, like the voice notes that have been sent, especially from a month or so ago, all the chats you've been having with your mates, it's been a lot of how you've been waiting to go out. Like, I can't wait for this shit to be over and then I can go live my life again. And it's a reality where a lot of people have, at least in their minds, they've said, okay, I'm going to put my life on hold until this is over. And that on hold part was, well, for us in SA, it started as 3 weeks, and now we're like hitting on like 140 days or something silly. So at least I know like the mental game where people had made peace. Like, remember, I don't know if you can think back to just before the start of lockdown. Like, there was one weekend right before lockdown where I know it was a big weekend for everyone, and then suddenly everyone had to stay like indoors for 3 weeks, and everyone thought to themselves like, you know what, I can do it for 3 weeks. It's not that bad. We all had little plans of things we were going to do to keep ourselves busy, and that was a solid like 4 or 5 months ago at least. Yeah, it's been way too long. And now people are just at a stage where now we can go out again, and we've been itching for this for literally 5 months now. Madness.
Yeah, and I think obviously when we got told 3 weeks in our head, you know, like we were like 3 weeks is very manageable, but it wasn't realistic at the time. We knew if this is a worldwide pandemic, there's not a chance that 3 weeks it's going to just disappear and off it's going to be gone again. But I think obviously from my own perspective, had someone told me this is going to be 6 months, it would have been a lot more far-fetched than thinking, 3 weeks. So yeah, I'm glad to be back. I'm sure most of you are as well. I don't know, let us know in the chats what your party plans are, how you feel about going out, how you feel about the curfew. Yeah, let us know. We'd love to hear.
Well, I don't think it's like any uncertainty on most people's parts. I mean, I can't imagine anyone who heard, listen, you got to stay at home for 3 weeks, and they're like, yeah, man, I can't wait. but like, I can imagine like what you were saying earlier about 6 months. If we had pitched it, well, if they had pitched it to us, like the government, and they were like, listen, buggers, you're going to be indoors for 6 months, and we would have been rioting. It would have been absolute madness. So I guess I'm not going to condone the way it was handled, but the way they did deliver it to us and the way we soldiered through those first 3 weeks, like optimistic, man. I was frothing for the jaw after that first 3 weeks. I remember like just before the lockdown started, I went and I bought like something silly, like 8-9 bottles of gin, and I was hyped, man. 3 weeks was going to be sick all by myself getting hammered. And then, obviously after that happened and there was alcohol ban, it was a complete mess. And then here we are, it's September. Absolute madness.
Yeah, well, it is good that things are slowly going back to normal, that places are opening, that I guess everyone's on the same frame of mind and in the same space wanting to go out. I guess the main prevalent thing that's going to have to be focused on from all of us, going to have to be a joint effort, would actually kind of just remaining safe. I'm still very skeptical whether this virus is as bad as they say. We get flu every year. Like, how much worse can it really be? But yeah, just in terms of less on a health and safety perspective, more on like a moving up the lockdown levels again. Like, I guess all of us are going to have to just take that slight extra precaution, just so if this thing is as deadly as it's been made out to be, that it doesn't spread like wildfire again, and then all of a sudden the government turns around and says, okay guys, back to level 5.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's under like the illusion like it's not a thing. It definitely is something that is affecting the world, and I think for the large part, I think it has been like constructive the way it has handled. A lot of our lives have changed to a certain extent for the better. I can say at least when it comes to jolling and going out, it's something that we've missed, and definitely once we start going out again, it's something we'll appreciate a lot more. I know like to a certain extent, there will always be skeptics. There will people who will always speculate, like, is it as bad as they say? Is it not? I think the only safe, responsible thing to do from the industry side is be as safe as possible, and that is the approach most venues, most artists have been like employing as they're going forward. And I think that's the most important part, actually.
Yeah, that will be kind of the make or break. I know from my side, and I know from all of your sides, I can guarantee it that we need our December, after this whole year and how everything's kind of gone to the dogs, basically. Like, we need December, and yeah.
December for the boys.
December.
Yeah, I don't know, like, if you start to think about it, like, the way December's going to play out, it's a little bit, like, you could take it from both sides. Either we're skeptic and we don't think the pandemic is as bad as they say, or you take a step back and you say, listen, this is a big problem that we're facing, and on that side, December's a bit of a crisis that I'm sure, like, that everyone that's involved is very worried about. But I know when we just think about, like, clubs and stuff, well, clubs obviously haven't opened up yet. Bars have, events have been running. But I think on their side, I know, especially the hospitality industry, the tourism industry here in SA, it was a godsend for them, because now they have a way to claw themselves back for this entire year that they've lost. They have the SA Summit. The tourism industry has the potential for influx from those low-risk countries that they can get the income from. And I think the biggest concern for them would be is, in the absence of that, what would they have done in December? I know, like, I have no doubt whether we were still on, like, lockdown level 3 or 4, that December would have happened, without a doubt, in South Africa. It's just one of those things. But the way it's going to be handled going forward, I think it'll be a test for the industry and the country as a whole. That being said, I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, because in terms of not even just us in Joburg, we've got pretty much no December, but in terms of Durban, Cape Town, places on the coast, and the tourism that they attract, during the summer, during the New Year's and that kind of stuff, it is going to be almost like a saving grace, like a Hail Mary, a potential for a Hail Mary that, South Africa can actually capitalize. The government can make back on some of the losses, and we're just gonna have to see how it pans out. It'll be a very interesting month for us.
Yeah, well, what you were just saying now, like, actually, it just, like, got my head rolling a little bit here. Now, you're saying that, like, obviously in the past, Durban and Cape Town used to be the big places to be in December. Now, do we have a potential for a big December year in Joburg? I mean, not as many people are going to travel, which means, well, I don't want to say one of our busiest, well, it is one of our busiest cities in the country, where, like, a large part of our dwelling population aren't leaving anymore. I mean, fine, our international travel ban has been lifted and people are going to be going up and down, but now they will all still be here in Joburg. I mean, the potential for parties here it's unprecedented without Cape Town. I mean, crisis.
Yeah, very, very true. And I think on our side, from event organizers, it's going to be a good challenge, if I could say, or a good opportunity. It's going to be, as you were saying, it could be a very festive month in Joburg, a lot higher and a lot more than what we've actually had in the past. So I think, it's some lots of weight on our shoulders, but lots of opportunity to actually do something new, do something unique, do something different that hasn't really happened.
I mean, it's not really the biggest challenge in terms of numbers, because normally we've got like 6 people that that are still in Joburg over New Year's. And now I know, like, I guess like a shy estimate, we're going to have at least 30, 40 people that will be sticking around. Well, not necessarily sticking around, they'll still be to a certain point like under lockdown, whether it be mentally or like government imposed.
But I mean, even if it's to the degree of lockdown that we have at the moment, and the restrictions and the regulations that are put on now, if you're doing outdoor festivals and you can get 500 people and you're having one every single weekend, we could actually make a very memorable December here in Joburg. I don't think it's ever been done before. I don't think there's ever been the potential that there has moving forward this year that there has been in previous years. So I think it's a very valid point.
We just cracked the code, man. We've hacked the system. I mean, like you're saying, outdoor festivals. I know, straight away now, I'm thinking Corona Sunsets has been selling out at the moment. It is a big thing where I know a lot of people have made peace that, listen, I'm not going anywhere in December. And with that 500 limit, I know like last year, even though it was rained out and it was a bit of a mess there, to be honest, like the amount of people that went, I think they pulled at least 3-4K. Like that's a modest estimate. And now for them to stack out at 500 people, like likely only 2 dance floors with their little stalls and whatnot, they can make an absolute killing. I mean, those, look, I don't want to like speak too soon, but as soon as they realistically assess it and saying, listen, we can only have 500 people here, wow, yeah, it'll be a very exclusive event. And then as soon as that happens, we know that, like what we were saying earlier, the amount of people that will still be here in Joburg, the demand's just going to shoot through the roof.
I think that's exactly it. Like it's about matching the supply and demand of what's going to be around for what we can do. So you guys watching in and listening, let us know. Give us a thumbs up if you'll be here in December. Give us a thumbs up if you are ready for a fat outdoor festival. Hopefully by that time, certain restrictions will be eased, and hopefully we'll be back to some sort of normal. But I think it's a very valid point. It's a very good opportunity that we actually have to do something historic in December in Johannesburg.
I mean, like even with the like you're saying, like we might have less restrictions come like December time. I don't know, to a certain extent, I think they've almost reached a stage where the amount that they can ease these restrictions and like keep things reasonable, there's very little room going forward. I know, obviously, sporting events have to start up again, and nightclubs have to start up again. I mean, that's a big one. But after that, as soon as you start pumping up the numbers, like 500 people indoors, you might as well go back to normal. I mean, if you're being honest.
Yeah, that's it is. I mean, obviously we're still in this state of disaster, or what do they call a state of emergency or whatever. And I wonder, obviously, they've extended it by a month, and I wonder when that finishes. It's middle of October, whenever it is. I wonder if that constitutes as level 0, or is it going to still be level 1, but we're just not in a state of crisis anymore. I wonder, how it's going to pan out. I wonder how the country's going to move forward.
Look, like whether we on the side of the lockdown or not, one thing I can say is as a country we have to a certain extent flattened the curve. It has like drastically slowed down in terms of spread. Now, whether we handle it correctly going forward, I think we are on the right track. I think our lifestyles have changed enough that we are more responsible people as a large population. Now, if we've given the opportunity for 250, 500 people, well, technically, no matter how many people we're talking, as long as we are still being responsible, venues are still safe, all the precautions are still being followed, like we can be speaking 2,000 people, we can be speaking 3,000 people, we can be speaking 50 people. If everyone's staying safe, everyone's staying safe. It's all or nothing thing. Either the place is safe or it's not. So once we get to that stage, and I think we have made strides as a people, again, whether we were in agreement with the lockdown or not, we have made those strides. And now, like we were saying, we have that opportunity in Joburg to make it profound, honestly. Like I can say for years now, I know if you were in Joburg, you knew you had maybe 2 or 3 mates around. That was it. And everyone was pushing to be not in Joburg. It was just a thing.
Yeah, it is, dude. Like, if you were in Joburg, you were one of the unlucky few. So, yeah. And I think, as you mentioned earlier, like, as a country as a whole, as a population, we have, kind of united together. Everyone is taking the precautions. Everyone is being safe. You're still going out to public places. You're still seeing people wear their masks. You're still seeing people sanitize, all those small things that they tell us that are helpful. I think as a general consensus, everyone is actually, coming together and actually doing it. And I think that will make a huge difference, as you said, whether it's 3,000 people, whether it's 10 people, as long as the safety is still there and the conscious thought, the awareness of, this is still around. It hasn't just disappeared because we're now ready to go out and we're now ready to have fun. So I think, I think as South Africa, everyone's made a very conservative effort. So I do think on a personal level, if I was Mitchell Ramaphosa, I would be moving things forward. Let's go in nightclubs, H2Os, Corona Sunset. I would be all for it.
Yeah, and I think as long as we're not at the stage where, if you look at the states where people are rioting saying, I will not wear my mask, that's honestly madness. And I'm glad we haven't reached that stage. And I know as a population, as a, I don't know, I call us a progressive country where we don't have that many fanatics like that have put everyone in danger. And we can at least be thankful for that. And we can build on that, really. We know no matter what jol we are throwing, no matter what jol we're attending, the thing that underlies here, the ethos of incognito social is that we have like-minded people in the house. And I think that's the real important thing. I mean, if we know, it's the same as having a brow where everyone who's coming, they've been staying safe, man. It's not really a threat to anyone's life. I mean, we're all staying safe, we're all staying healthy, and we're all ultimately there for the jol, man. Having it.
Yeah, well, I think to those of you who are tuned in, who are listening, the main message is if you want to come to our events, if you want to go to anyone's events, if you want to go out and have a good time with your mates, with your family, we 100% condone it, but just be safe and just take those extra measures, those extra precautions just to make sure you are keeping safe. And make sure you come to incognito events.
Yeah, the next event's Thursday now, Heritage Day. And I think at least we've gone to a stage where we all conscious enough that we know it's not the biggest hassle to sanitize. It's not the biggest hassle to wear social distancing, no matter where you are. It is being followed and no one's absolutely up in arms against it. So that's awesome. And it's very important to go forward like that. Otherwise, there would be no, de-escalation of the lockdown levels. We'd be still sitting at level 4 with the cigarette bans. I mean, can you imagine? Then we were speaking about a 6-month lockdown where we had no end in sight. That's terrifying. At least we are on the right track. And look, I mean, it's September now. The more I think about it, after having this conversation, a big December in Joburg might not be that far out. I mean, it might be a realistic goal for us to have. I mean, can you imagine? It's exciting.
Yeah, I don't think it's that far of a stretch, to actually have multiple open air festivals, large festivals, nightclubs pumping, packed New Year's. I know the last 3 or so New Year's that I've spent in Johannesburg, it's literally been Truth has been pretty much the only thing to go to. And I think what'll be nice is there's going to be a lot of variety, a lot of opportunity for you as the general population to actually have a good December in Johannesburg, and not be kind of demotivated by being stuck in Joburg. I think most of us will be. I think there will be the few that'll travel, but I think in a general consensus, most of us will be in Joburg, and I think it's going to make a great opportunity for us to actually have the December that we see in Plet, in Durban, in Cape Town.
And it's also something that now while I'm busy thinking about it, I know one of the large pools that were in Joburg were obviously the festivals that normally happen around Johannesburg, Maritzburg, out there where they weren't big festivals to start with, to be honest. I mean, they pulled max about 1,000 people. Now, for them, not much has changed. I think those will still be large attractions. I think for them, the only difference will be now, suddenly instead of having 1,000 people who you knew were going to come and they came, now you probably have a demand of about 3,000-4,000 people who are like, listen, what are we going to do in December for New Year's? If I'm not going to Cape Town, if I'm not going to Plet, if I'm not going to Durban, there's the next best thing. Obviously, I think I do see a lot more festivals popping up, especially close to the time when I'm thinking Corona Sunset's just other side of, we're going towards, Mulder's Drift. Yeah, and like, there is a very nice venue, and they have thrown festivals in the past. Obviously, they'd have to adapt, but that's already in the works. I mean, they have started promoting for the next Corona Sunsets. There's a venue there, and if we're looking at December and they still have the restrictions of, let's say, we get to a stage with like 1,000 people, that's a venue that can fit and cater for at least 4,000 or 5,000. So you've got the demand, now we need 4 or 5 other festivals to go to.
Which I think, they're not going to be in shy demand, just my assumption. Well, you guys who are still watching, you guys who are with us, let us know if you guys have any thoughts towards December, if you are around here, what you would like to see happening. We'd love to know. Obviously, it helps us. We can plan for you. We can get some incognito events going, doing a type of festival every weekend for the whole of December sounds like a dream to me. So you guys who are watching, let us know how you feel about that, and if you're going to be around.
I think also it's a challenge for a lot of venues and places in Joburg where they know, at least to a certain extent, they know it's December. Restaurants should be a little bit fuller. There's definitely the shopping rush if they're based near like centers where people are gravitating towards. But in terms of clubs, they kind of go, I don't want to call it like survival mode, where they are throwing regular events. Every Saturday there's a crowd, but it's never a full packed out crowd. It's just the Joburg culture over December where we know we're going to go out. People are definitely going out, but it's never going to be packed. It's never going to be a regular crowd. It's always people who are just reaching out for a little bit of a jolt. Whether it be just before Christmas, after Christmas, those first few weeks in January, it's never a stacked crowd, but it's always happening. And at least the venues are there and open, and now we have the opportunity to pull them out.
That's exactly it. The crux of it is now that there basically is the opportunity to fill it all out. I know if you go out, I've been Belito a few Decembers and whatever, you go out anywhere every night and it's packed and it's full, but we just don't get that here. And obviously because we've all migrated, we've all gone down to the coast in some way or some form. So I think I'm really excited for December. I think it's going to be banging in Joburg. I think it's not just us who are on this wavelength. I think a lot of event organizers and a lot of nightclubs and stuff are also on it.
Yeah. Yeah.